So I think I'm up and running. Give people a minute to come in. I'm aware that you can listen to me even though you're not actually in the room. Sometimes I go into the lives just to see how many people's in there. There's a filter on. That's okay. I'm fixing to turn 60. It looks pretty much like me though. Let's see. It is blurring out my freckles. That's okay. Hello. I want to thank people again for taking an interest. I know that what I say seems kind of outlandish, but I've been in it for so long and I've documented my trials, I guess you could say. It's out there. So it's full circle at this point in time, basically. I get criticized or berated by some idiot that doesn't know what they're talking about. Doctor or layperson, I'm never sure. Doctors, they're idiots. But, and their egos are massive. It's really quite amazing. But, it doesn't take very long for me to settle the argument, and I can easily do that just by referring to my website. Which, the other night, I read the letter. Somebody had told me, if you're so knowledgeable, why don't you teach them? And I'm like, how long do you think I've been in this, basically? I've been in it for 36 years. I've been trying to teach them from the beginning. Anyway, well, let's put it this way. Since 2000, I've been trying to, 91, since 1991. Anyway, so based on the fact that we started this story, which I took a snippet out of the live the other night that, basically illuminated the fact that I had made contact back in July 10, 2000 with the board. I figured, okay, I'm looking at this documentation now, figuring you guys are entitled to find out about it. So I'm just going to keep telling my story, and I'm reading the evidence, which is actually on my website, the actual documents. And what happened is, after I'm telling them, let me work with you, not against you, it was mailed July 11, it was delivered July 12th, and I'm basically sending, everything out, requesting proof of delivery. I know how to play the game, let's just put it that way. But, I get dated July the 11th, the day that I wrote my proposal. They're sending a letter to me, and what it says is the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners is in receipt of a complaint filed against you by complainant Russell Anderson, D.C., dated June 12, 2000. The board, as authorized by Oklahoma rules and regulations, has submitted it to the advisory committee for investigation. Enclosed, you will find a copy of the complaint. Please respond to the complaint within 20 days of regarding how this situation can be resolved. A copy of your response will be sent to the complaining party. We are, we are assisting the board to mediate a resolution to this complaint. To expedite this complaint in a timely manner, it is imperative that you respond to the complaint within 20 days of receipt of this letter, as required by Oklahoma Rules and Regulations 140:3-3-2. If you have any questions or comments, please contact me by phone at 918-744-1073 or send your written response to me at the above address, which is James D. Myers, the advisory committee member, 1441 East 41st Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74105. I don't think I ever realized it was Tulsa. But I wrote the letter to the board directly. This is the advisory committee. So they've been sitting on this complaint from June the 12th, and they're finally sending me something regarding that complaint on the 11th. It's kind of weird. They crossed in the mail. The documents crossed in the mail. And I received the letter here, their letter, on the 13th of July. And the complaint, what it says, official complaint form, returned to Oklahoma State Board of Chiropractic Examiners, says date of service was 5/17, May 17, which I looked at my comments that led up into this. And sure enough, I went to see him on May the 17th to try to interest him in learning my grandfather's work. He was interested in learning it because of the larger fees that Grandpa collected. And then, of course, he's asking me about whether or not I'm a chiropractor or not. No, I'm not a chiropractor. Why would you ask me that? It was just kind of weird the way he asked me that. It's like if I'm a part of their club. I'm not a part of their club, but I am king of their I'm king of their domain. Sorry guys, I'm not going to do this right now, no. Basically I'm the princess to their... My grandfather was the best. He was the king of the hill, and I'm the granddaughter, so that makes me the princess. No, I'm not a chiropractor, but I am, at this point in time, queen of their domain. Sorry guys, no. Okay, maybe after I read the letters. It says, Tammy Kennedy is not a chiropractor, which if I had made a claim to be a chiropractor, they'd have had cause to, shut me down. But I never made a claim to be a doctor or a chiropractor. I know better. I don't see patients. I have clients, I know how to, operate within the law and the boundaries of the law. That Grandpa groomed me to do just that for years. He knew. I know, And he assured me that as an American citizen, I had a right to make contracts. And they were lamenting that, I didn't have a right in the court. They were lamenting that I didn't have that right to make contract because I was breaking the law. I never made a claim to be a doctor. I never made a claim to be a chiropractor. And he says it right here. Tammy Kennedy is not a chiropractor. He admits it right there. She is evaluating patients. I'm not seeing patients. But he says that and claims to be treating them. Her grandfather is Dr. Earl Creighton. Yeah, I was helping people, but I was also trying to get the chiropractors in on it because I was trying to help more people. Tried to raise their standards. Grandpa tried to raise their standards. Grandpa sent me out there for the cause of raising their standards. So the fact that I am now their enemy, and I am chiropractic enemy number one. Sorry, guys. Maybe after I'm done reading the letters. No, not until I'm done with reading the letters. You guys are distracting me. Her grandfather is Dr. Earl Creighton. She claims that he showed her his techniques, and she now wants to teach those techniques to DCs for a fee. I think what it was, they didn't like the fact that I asked to be paid for educating them. They paid big money to learn, to get their education, whatever you want to call that. It's a fallacy, but they paid big money to be taught wrong. So why shouldn't I expect something, to teach them right? He says, I am sending copies of brochures that she gave me, which describes in detail an adjustment used as part of the treatment protocol. If she is in fact treating patients, which I was not treating patients, I was helping people, she should be stopped, is what he's saying. I should be stopped. He didn't want to pay the fee, and he doesn't want to compete with a better, protocol. They don't want to compete. And that's what started it. And then, of course, I wrote the letter, which crossed in the mail, not aware of that we were going to cross in the mail. And, okay, this is the next one. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. I had just sent out the letter, not knowing that we would be crossing in the mail. And, 2 days later, after I mailed the letter, I get that document those two documents I just read you. So, I have so many days to respond. And at this point in time, they pissed me off. They already pissed me off because Russell Anderson was a total dickhead in how he, behaved that day when he found out I wasn't a chiropractor. I'm like, what I told him was, it's okay, obviously, I called him in advance, make sure he's not going to waste my time. I've already approached Smith. Kind of interesting. I said Neo the other day. Smith was the original chiropractor that I worked on. Agent Smith, whatever. And I approached Cam Schroeder, I'm patient, I'm waiting, and now by 2000, I'm stepping it up. Grandpa is still alive. He is, at this point in time, July 10th, he just turned 96, 98. He just turned 98. He's not going to live forever. Anyway, he lives till almost 100, actually. But I wrote him. I said, James D. Myers, D.C., Advisory Committee Member, 1441 East 41st Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74105, July 17, 2000. I said, Dear Sir, I am writing you as requested in your letter dated July 11, 2000. I am angered by this so-called health service practitioner's complaint. I am curious as to his intent on getting sick people well. It seems to me impractical to cry foul and attempt to stop the benefit that I can deliver. I do respect your wording of the letter that I received, and am not currently holding you to blame for his ignorance. However, I have given my response much thought and am currently guided by my God to point out one simple fact. This doctor of health services has intended to throw me to the lions for helping people. I said, you tell your Goliath that the young and future king is ready to meet him on the battlefield. I will wager my knowledge against his license any day of the week. If he feels that his faith is strong enough to prove me wrong, then tell him to get his patients together and let them decide who is wrong and who is right. Sincerely, Tammy Kennedy. I was living in Kremlin at the time. It was 316 7th Street, Kremlin, Oklahoma. So on my website, I've got current contact information. See my link. I'm currently in Enid. P.S. Have you found my proposal that was delivered to the board of directors on July the 12th? And that is, let me see here real quick. The next page, I said, of course, I reference, Star Wars, basically. Fear is the path to the dark side. I said the results of my efforts turned out to be temporarily put on hold. The Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners managed to bury my request. I never did get the chance to go before them to prove Grandpa's technique superior to all the rest. Apparently they just don't want to let go of their authority. Maybe they think they won't be able to pay their bills. That big house and that new car does cost a pretty penny. Tongue in cheek. Anyway. And then I point out that, massage therapists in Oklahoma, they've changed it recently. I've got gnats in here. I have a banana around. Banana skin. But in Oklahoma, they didn't need a license to practice. They made a change in the last year or two, whatever it was. But I'm still outside of all of that because my 9th and 10th Amendment Declaration went to the authorities that established me separate and apart. All it says is basically, and it was the massage therapist that turned me on to the information. And what it is that if what I'm doing is never been done before, basically I don't fall under the purview of any other, recognized field, then I can fly my banner free and clear. And so it's, I made my statement, stood my ground, and sent it out there. I sent it out to all of them. And I have a whole list on the website here. And then in particular, I said, what it is I have been advised from a practicing massage therapist I should proceed in this manner. Please follow, put on record the enclosed 9th and 10th Amendment Declaration and statement from Dr. Earl Franklin Creighton, which he did to give me reference. I said, you can reach me at my old number should you have any questions. Sincerely, Tammy Kennedy. And then I said to the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners, they received this other one. Due to your non-responsiveness, I, Tammy Joy Kennedy, do hereby accept the torch from my grandfather, Dr. Earl Franklin Creighton, and do solemnly swear that I will uphold the position of that seat, nerve signal interference specialist. So at that point in time, I'd given them the option to, I laid the work in their lap. Cam Schroeder had told me already in 1995 that he was told by the board that if they ever had the chance to learn Grandpa Creighton's work, jump on it. Well, I'm Creighton's representative. I am his granddaughter. I know the work. I've already worked on the board president. This was in, well, he was still being groomed for the, let me think here. No, let's see, 2000. He was president in 1995. So I'd already worked on their board president 4 years prior to that. He knew, they all knew. And I never made the claim to be a chiropractor. I was just trying to interest them in learning it to start with, because Grandpa sent me out there to try to reach a chiropractor so he could teach them. You know, in fact, in the original business venture, there were shares set up. I was a shareholder in Grandpa's company, M&K Enterprises, and I held 5,000 shares out of, I think it was 5,000 per grandkid. There was 8 grandkids, and it would have been what, 5,000, 40,000, and then the other 260,000 would have been split in two. So Mom and Mavis held 30,000 shares, I think it was. And he was the head. Grandpa was the president of it. But my original intent was to bring the doctors in so Grandpa could teach them. And then the money would have gone into the corporation, and then I would have benefited because I was a shareholder. That was what the original plan was. And they weren't going to have it. They're trying to stop me, you know. By 2000, I've been in it for, let me think here. I started in 1988. I worked on the board president in 1991, future board president in 1991. By 1995, I'm working on another one of them. And I'm just basically getting tired of waiting on them to do the right thing. I'm thinking, okay, well, they're not going to do it. Me and Grandpa fought for 10 years whether or not I'm going to be a chiropractor or not. In the end, Grandpa told me, he said, I think you're right. They're not. I said, why would they follow my suggestions if they're not going to follow yours? Even my dad said later, he said, had you become a chiropractor, they would have yanked your license because, you know, you were never going to practice chiropractic. No, I had no intention of practicing chiropractic. I was going to do Grandpa's work. They never taught Grandpa's work. They never learned Grandpa's work. You know, when they had it laid in their lap, you know, on the silver platter, they acted like a bunch of dummies trying to control the competition instead of improving themselves. You're not going to tell me that anybody in chiropractic is any good when I had to deal with that crap. I don't believe any of them is any good. Well, maybe a few. 5%. Maybe. But I have talked to a lot of them. And I can tell you the system as a whole regarding chiropractic is geared to cater to the wealth of the chiropractor. That is what it's about. First letter I ever received from their college was talking about, you know, the amount of money they made. And they pointed out that they were number 3 top 100 paying positions in the, you know, country if you took out the, you know, sports figures, professional sports figures. They were that big. So they, you know, bunch of people go into chiropractic, usually it's not to help people. They say, oh, well, they were hurting. You know, they wanted to be a chiropractor. They wanted to help people. No, they were spoon-fed the fact they were going to be millionaires. You know, and Alex Tubio is just that. Well, how do you think he got to be a millionaire? He stole from his patients is what he did. Because you don't make that kind of money unless you keep them sick. You just don't. You know, I've basically been giving away the work for free for I don't even know how many years, just to let people know that there's something better. Anyway, basically my certificate, it says, statement may concern I, Dr. Earl Franklin Creighton, do hereby swear that Tammy Joy Kennedy is prepared to take on the duties and responsibilities of nerve signal interference specialist, NSI specialist, as I have defined through the course of the time that we have spent together. Signed, E.F. Creighton, notarized October 24th, 2000. This is not the actual document, but it is me typing it up, but I have the actual document. Mailed November 1st, 2000. It's backwards. That you can find on nsirotac.com/Earls, EARLS letter, LATTER. And he told me at one point in time, he said, I was ready for Christopher Reeve's case, is what he's telling me. Anyway, if you just get onto any of those pages, you just keep going, turn the page, turn the page, turn the page. Oh yeah, here it is. You'll get the totality of the story that I'm reading to you now. I'm just going to keep going. So then on November 30th, okay, so let me get timeline. I'm figuring all this out too, kind of remembering things. I mean, it's been so long ago now. But it was July the 10th, so then on July the 10th, I'm approaching the board to learn it. Hey, let me help you guys. July the 11th, they're talking about the fact that, Anderson, dickhead, is made a complaint against me, and he never did return the literature that I gave him, even though I asked him for it. I said, that's what I was telling you. I said, well, obviously I've wasted my time here. I said, just give me my literature back and I'll be on my way. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. He's holding on to it. He's acting like a stupid idiot, keeping me from leaving his office, and then he's calling the cops. Talking about I'm practicing medicine without a license. I'm like, the city of Enid doesn't have any jurisdiction over whether or not I'm practicing anything. What the hell are you doing? Acting stupid. Anyway, so then on the 24th of October, after Grandpa had a close call, he'd had a close call, he almost died, and I basically grabbed his hand. I held on to him. And I let him know, I said, you can't leave. You can't leave yet. I said, I need you. And he made it through. And then after he got out of the hospital, because he was there for a couple of weeks, after he got out of the hospital, we went immediately. And we have this document notarized October the 24th, 2000. And then I'm mailing it out, November 1st. So it all kind of kind of back burner. They're doing what they can to, put their stupid heads together to, try to, stop me. And I'm like, you gonna learn it or not? Basically. Okay. Then, and so now, well, obvious and clearly, due to your non-responsiveness, that's what I told him. I said, due to your non-responsiveness, I am now accepting the torch from my grandfather. I basically let him know, hey, if you want to consider this chiropractic, it's up to you, but you're gonna have to behave yourselves, you're gonna have to cooperate, And I let him know, it's just, this is a mature thing to do, this is the way it's going to be done, this is how it's going to happen. If you can't do that, then I'm going to carry the torch, and I don't need you. I'm just going to move on without you. And, I gave him July, August, September, October. I gave him over 3 months. Grandpa almost died in that much time, and now it's time, okay, we're making our stand. Grandpa's still alive, he lives another year past that. In fact, when I went down and I, sorry guys, not yet, no. When I went down and faced the board directly, he was still alive. I'm still documenting, I'm reading my documents, guys, not right now. So, on November 30th, 2000, it's being sent to me in Kremlin. It says, regarding unlawful practice of chiropractic, to dear Ms. Kennedy, after I send them my 9th and 10th Amendment declaration and I made my stand, and I let them know, well, I'm an NSI specialist at this point in time. Y'all have nothing to say about it. Now they're saying, and he even admitted, that I wasn't a chiropractor. I never said I was a chiropractor. So, dear Ms. Kennedy, it has come to the attention of the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners that you are apparently practicing chiropractic. Records of the board indicate that you do not have a license to practice chiropractic in the state of Oklahoma. Well, of course I don't. Why would I want to go learn any of it? Like I said, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're hurting. I'm working on these guys, and if what I'm doing is chiropractic, then they wouldn't need me to fix them. He says, you are hereby advised to cease and desist the practice of chiropractic in Oklahoma in any form or fashion until such time as you have completed the accredited academic requirements and been issued a license by the board. It gives the law, whatever, supplement, blah, 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 makes it a misdemeanor for any person to practice or attempt to practice chiropractic or hold yourself out to the public as a practitioner of chiropractic without a license issued by the board. The penalty is a fine of between $500 and $2,000 or imprisonment in the county jail for 5 to 30 days, or both. Each day violation of this law constitutes a separate offense. Your prompt attention to this matter will be appreciated. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or Dr. John Chambers, Executive Director of the Board. His telephone number is, and it's changed, but 405, I don't know if it's current now, but 405-522-6826. It says it's the correct number. Thank you for your cooperation. So they changed it. I read you the current number at that time. And it was Walter Jenney, Jr., Assistant Attorney General. So now I'm dealing with the state. Carbon copy, Dr. John Chambers, Dr. Craig Day, Garfield County Sheriff, Garfield County District Attorney. I remember at one point in time that, they were calling Mom, basically harassing her. And I'm like, you all have no jurisdiction. Y'all don't care. Nobody gives a shit, I was broadcasting on Pegasus at some point in time. Let me think here. No, that was 2002. Later I would broadcast. But I wrote a letter to the ACLU and kind of, I don't know if, I was documenting everything, putting on my website, so I don't know if the fact I wrote the letter to the ACLU stalled their attack or not. But I did write a letter to the ACLU to let them know that, hey, freedom's under attack. And I'll go ahead and read that one too. I said, December 4, 2000, I had a telephone conversation with Dr. John Chambers, Executive Director of the Board of Chiropractic Examiners. I had called in response to a letter that I had received from the Office of Attorney General, State of Oklahoma. Copy enclosed. Dr. Chambers was very hostile and attempted to intimidate me. I don't intimidate easily. He said that he would see me in prison for practicing chiropractic medicine. See, I even forgot this. This was the letter I wrote to the ACLU. I said when I tried to explain to him, and I was very nice about it too, when I tried to explain to him that what I was practicing was not chiropractic, he lamented. I do remember this. He lamented. You should have heard him too. He's crying. He lamented that I was going to drag my grandfather's technique through the mud and taint his grandpa's good name. And what I remember is, you're going to drag your grandfather's good name through the mud, is what I remember, crying about it. I kept telling Mom, I said, they're waiting on him to die. Grandpa's telling me, you make them pay you. So, who's the authority? Anyway, so I went on to say, he ended up hanging up on me. I said, of course, when I realized that I could not reason with him, had just told him to put up his dukes. I said, put up your dukes. Oh, yeah, we're going to fight. Put your dukes up, dude. Put them up. Upon reaching the Assistant Attorney General, Walter W. Jenney, Jr., I discovered that his position was that of attorney for the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners. I said, we had a pleasant conversation. I was able to explain to him about Grandpa's struggle to bring the chiropractic profession out of the dark ages. He told me that Grandpa's work needed to be in the colleges, that I was going about my quest wrong. I then explained to him that Grandpa had already taken his technique to the colleges, that it was not being taught in spite of the fact that he had been recognized as the very best in his profession. I also told him that when Grandpa had the chance to put his work in the colleges, he had told them that they could not teach what was right on one hand and what was wrong on the other, and that if they wanted his technique in the colleges, that he would have to weed out the chaff. That's what he did too. The reason why I wasn't in the college is because he's telling me you can't teach what's right on one hand, what's wrong on the other. If you're going to do this, you're going to put my work in, I'm going to make it all, we're going to make it all right. We got to do it right. And that's just the way it is. And he was stubborn about it. So I said, and if they wanted his technique in the colleges, that he would have to weed out the chaff. Unfortunately, we are all too familiar with the reason why his work is not being taught in the schools. So Mr. Jenney then told me that I needed to speak with Dr. Chambers. I then recounted to him what Dr. Chambers had said. He told me that he would speak to Dr. Chambers for me, and we ended our conversation. About an hour later, I received another call from Mr. Jenney asking me to attend the next chiropractic board meeting in order to explain to them that my work was not chiropractic medicine. I accepted the invitation. He told me to expect a letter from him with the date of their next meeting, January 19, and the formal invitation. He said that I would need to respond to the letter, reserving my spot on their agenda. To date, I'm still waiting for that letter. I am sure that I should have no problem in getting the chiropractic board to realize that what I do is not chiropractic medicine. if they have ears to hear my plea. If, however, they attempt to process me, there shall be such an outcry that the very pillars of this nation would be shaken. Not only would the position of the massage therapists and other peripheral health care practitioners be at stake, but the very right of the people to make their own health care choices would be usurped. That's what I told them. And later I would hook into the health freedom fighters, and they were telling the exact thing. That's what they were fighting for, was their right to choose whoever they wanted to go to. So I was in the heat of it. I mean, oh my God. And then January the 18th, 2001, I'm like, I got 3 days to go before this meeting, and I've been waiting for them to, send me the invitation. I don't think they wanted me there. And anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, I got to fire it back to them. I know how to play the game, so I'm, okay, letters it is, hard copy. So, to Dr. John Chambers, I have eagerly awaited your formal invitation to me to attend the next chiropractic board meeting as I was informed would happen. I have waited since December 4, 2000. Since I have not received this document, that I anticipate that you have had a change of heart. I am accepting this fact as a concession on your part that I am now beyond your scope and regulation, as my technique is definitely different from that of your pupils and colleagues. It's kind of funny, actually, because I was on top of it before I realized, because it took me, the court, when we went to court, that's what it took for me to realize what chiropractic was, and that's what came to the forefront. Chiropractic is two things. It's what's taught in the colleges and what's approved by the board. And if they didn't teach Grandpa's work, then they cannot regulate. They can't regulate it. So I'm talking about the scope of practice later. They would put in this huge effort, and when they report to the FCLB about their, temporary victory against me, they'd talk to you about the fact that, they'd spent all this time to, do their due diligence and come up with their scope of practice. And the reason why they did that was because of the lawsuit. It's exactly why they did it. I am accepting this fact as a concession on your part that I am now beyond your scope and regulation, as my technique is definitely different from that of your pupils and colleagues. Fact, I have worked on chiropractors and I will not let them touch me because they don't know a damn thing as far as I am concerned. This information about the Chiropractic Institute's ignorance comes from my grandfather, Earl Franklin Creighton, D.C., Ph.C. I am sure that you know of him. He doesn't think much of your establishment and refuses to place his technique into your hands. I let him know. He's not handing this to you. This is going through the family, guys. Get used to the idea. I said, don't think that just because he practices as a chiropractor that his technique is what the chiropractic schools taught him. He has risen above the garbage heap and has created something that you have forsaken already. I realize that this letter is rather bold, but it is the truth nonetheless. You can expect a run for your money in the future. Change is inevitable and is on the immediate horizon. If you wish to see your establishment evolve past the lies and deceit that is chiropractic medicine, wake up. This message is now over 35 years in the telling and started with Grandpa himself. And since he is currently 98 years old, I am being called to fill his shoes since chiropractic failed the task. Personally, at this point, I don't want anything to do with you. I have gotten my belly full in the last year and don't see how Grandpa could have kept the faith for as long as he did. Move over. A new science is born. And that was the letter I told January 16th. I'm like, I'm done, you fucking idiots. And I sent it to Walter Jenney, the Assistant Attorney General, too. Mailed January 16th, delivered to Walter Jenney on the 17th, and delivered to the Oklahoma State Board of Chiropractic Examiners on the 18th. I'm supposed to be at their board meeting on the 19th. And then, January 17, 2001, they're sending me the letter of invitation. I wrote the letter on the 16th. Walter Jenney received it on the 17th, and on the same day, now they're sending me my invitation. And I think they had to next day deliver it too. They waited so long. But what it says, Dear Ms. Kennedy, this letter is to notify you that the Oklahoma Board of Chiropractic Examiners will be holding a meeting on January 19, 2001 for the purpose of conducting board business. Per the request of the board and Mr. Walter Jenney, Attorney General Liaison, I am sending you this notification that we have placed on the agenda for discussion whether or not the practicing of nerve signal interference is chiropractic or not. They can't even get it right. It's nerve signal interference removal. The board would like to request your presence at the meeting, which will be held at the Oklahoma City Hilton Northwest at 2945 Northwest Expressway at 7 p.m. So they may ask you questions regarding this technique practiced by you and your grandfather. Please contact this office at 522-6826 if you have any further questions regarding this matter. So anyway, I know how to play the game. There's more to it. I'm not going to go further than that this evening. You can look it up. It's we'll pick that up another night, but you can look it up. It's nshirtech.com/reporter. Actually, it gives you the totality of my experience at that point in time. And it's right at the top. Dr. Kent Bartell. No, actually, Dr. Russell Anderson. Dr. Kent Bartell was another experience. Yeah, actually, that was June 21st, 2000, on summer solstice of millennium. And then, June 21st, 2000. And then a few weeks later, July. Let's see here. Okay, so May 17, 2000, I went to Russell Anderson's office here in Enid, trying to get him to, get interested in learning the work. Oh yeah, he was interested in it based on the fees. Then all of that crap started. Then in June the 21st, I'm in Tulsa, approached another chiropractor, and he actually has me come in. I work on him, his wife, his receptionist, and 6 of his problem cases, and had a wonderful meeting that day. And which later, of course, he wouldn't do the right thing either. But so I'm back and forth between stupidity and, open-mindedness to a point. And then July the 10th, I had the good sense, thank God, I had the good sense to contact the board directly. Yeah, I think it might have been Bartell and, the, good experience in his clinic that day that maybe, kind of, nudged me in the direction of actually contacting the board. I don't really know now what motivated me. At that point in time, I just know that I was in between Anderson, Bartell, and now the board. And that's on my website. But I can't tell you what my actual motivation was when I sat down and wrote the letter on July the 10th. I don't know. But that is the historical account. And what I've read you so far, it starts with Dr. Russell Anderson, Enid, Oklahoma. The call is the first link, and then it goes to the beginning of the meeting, the end of the meeting, after the meeting, letter to the Oklahoma State Board of Chiropractic Examiners, etc., etc. And then we'll talk about, like, tomorrow night. It starts with my arrival. Let the games begin. And ultimately, I met with them, faced them head on, and they really couldn't do anything. No. Later, a chiropractor would tell me when I'm, I was in their kangaroo court in 2000, January 19th, 2001, I'm in their kangaroo court. And they couldn't do anything. Not a thing. He told me later, that's how I found out it was kangaroo court. He said, wow, you were in the kangaroo court. He had his license yanked because he was, making nutritional suggestions to his patients. They yanked his license. Seriously, the board does not want to see any improvements, and their main interest and their main concern is not public safety, although that's what they're supposed to be there for. What they're interested in is maintaining the status quo, and they don't give a shit about their patients. They don't care about the people. That's the board level. They seriously do not care. That's the state. I'm shocked. And coming still just now washing over me. Like, what the hell? Anyway, so we'll pick up tomorrow. It is almost midnight here. We'll pick up tomorrow night about, when I actually meet But there was a lot of politics involved, and it was very interesting. So I will, I'm sure, do a snippet of this, present it. I'll probably put it on my YouTube channel. That's probably what I'll do. So I'm still learning about this app. So anyway, I'm headed to bed, guys. I will talk to you later.